Okay, guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV Live. This is Dan here with the Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we had some technical difficulties. Technically, YouTube was being difficult, so we apologize for that. We do apologize for that. So let's pull everybody up here. Good evening.
Hello.
How you doing? Waiting for people to get in here. We didn't really. No,
that's
I guess
okay.
we
They're coming. They're coming. So you know
they're coming. They're coming. If they're not coming, they're not
coming, and that's their loss. So.
So where have we been? Everybody wants to know
why haven't we been?
Where haven't we been? Everybody wants to know why why our schedule's been so erratic this month, and you know it's because we travel a lot.
Yeah.
And this month has been the worst.
Well, you were in Florida, then Chicago, then Florida. I
was
in Florida and Chicago.
Literally been out of the office for what, like 2 weeks out of this month.
It's a lot.
It's
Geeky's
like
here, woohoo!
Geeky is here, and she's still got a cold.
Geeky Sparkles with a cold, but I still am Geeky Sparkles.
She is. She's Geeky Sparkles with a cold.
That's right.
And some people said you sound sexier when you have a cold.
My daughter says I sound like a smoker. So
like a smoker.
Like, that's what she says. She goes, "Mom sounds like a smoker." So
smoker.
That's right. Come smoking hot. Anyway.
Anyway,
cough still. Sorry.
I'll cough too. There we go. Everybody's got allergies. Oh my god. Very professional here at Clownfish TV. So yeah, we've been out.
But you got to do something pretty cool.
Yeah, I got to go into Galaxy's Edge last week.
Now the Florida one.
The Florida one. Yeah, and people
not that far into it. Before I get excited,
no,
you got to literally walk through the tunnel.
Okay, so day job. We are, I guess, travel bloggers would probably be the best way to put it. And they had a media event earlier in the week at Walt Disney World, and they let select members of the media go into Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, and they basically just took us up to the entrance and let us look around, answered a couple questions, and shushed us out. So,
but it looks really big.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, what I can...
Well, the spire's cool. What was done? Because it wasn't very much done.
Really, all I saw were a bunch of rocks.
But did it look cool?
They were cool rocks.
Can you envision it being cool?
Yeah, when it's done. Now, okay, so the entrance they took us in was over at Grand Avenue, which is over by the Muppets, right? So that's where they have that big... And it was kind of cool, like they have it look like almost like a stone carved tunnel you went through to go into Galaxy's Edge. But then you go out into the area they let us stand in, and it's very, very unfinished, because that part leads into the Rise of the Resistance ride, which is not done.
That's going to be the side that's not done yet.
That's the side that's not done, yeah. So. And then the other side was actually where like all the buildings are and the Falcon is, and we did not get to see any of that. Really.
No, I don't.
Just off in the distance. So
I didn't get to see any of it, so I can't talk because let the one big Star Wars fan at home. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Soul Calibur Simmer. Forever miserable that the Clock Tower series is dead. Love you guys and hope you're well. Well, thank you. Guys, if you're looking here look at our friend Michael Bomer with his neat little clownfish.
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. Your neat little clownfish icon. That means he joined. He hit the join button on if you go to any of our videos or you go to our main page. Now we have a join button, so you can join Clownfish TV. It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like Patreon through YouTube. But we can do like a special live stream every month. And the people who support us through the clownfishsupport.com, we'll invite them too.
Yeah.
We'll have a special
someone wants to know why you're attacking the rocks. Because Neon, is intimidated by things.
I'm Ludo.
He's intimidated by things he thinks are stronger and bigger than he is. So, no, I'm kidding.
No, the rocks were fine. No, there's nothing. I'm just saying there wasn't a whole lot to see. It's not like they let us go in and fondle the Falcon. We didn't get to fondle the Falcon. We basically... We're told not to touch anything, stand right here, and do not pass this rope. They had it roped off. We weren't allowed to go past it. And they had a couple of Imagineers answering questions. And
but it was still cool.
It was cool to be able to go in early. Yeah, it smells like Lowe's.
It always smells like Lowe's.
Everything new smells like
Lowe's. True story, when Pandora opened, we went within a week of it opening, and Neon walked up we were in line for one of the rides, and he kept walking up and smelling the walls because he said it smelled like Lowe's.
Well, it smelled like new construction.
Anyway. So, let's get to the point where everybody's here.
Anyway,
I think you've had enough of an intro.
But yeah, if you want a little confidence, and we'll do we should do like a little neon, little geeky, and maybe
there you go.
Maybe a brush or something.
Brushable hair.
Different icons. We'll give people different icons. I don't know what I'm doing with this. They just gave us the option of adding the join button like a couple of weeks ago.
Well, let's get to the points because
We've got points. We've got points.
We have points. I swear we have points.
We do. So the points that we're going to talk about.
Well, we have lows here. That's why. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. The comic book industry. Let's talk about comics. We're going to talk about a lot of things in this podcast. We're going to talk
there's
about
a lot of things to talk about.
Comics. We're going to play catch up.
Well, should we do the 4th, May the 4th, since you were talking about Star Wars?
Yeah.
So may the 4th be with you. For those who are on the 5th, the 5th strikes back, and Cinco de Mayo, whatever you want to do. So yeah, may the 4th be with you. And I want to give a shout out to Peter Mayhew.
Yeah. R.I.P. Peter Mayhew, and I've got a story about Peter Mayhew up here somewhere. One of these many.
You don't even know what you're talking about. There we go.
There we go.
And I've heard nothing but amazing stories about him. When we do a lot of cons and shows, and he was there at several of the shows we were at. And we never really got time to go see him, but everybody who got to go see him talked about how nice he was and how, courteous he was, and he was just a sweetheart. So it's very sad.
Yeah, it's very sad that he's gone. I guess he was supposed to do a convention this weekend, too, and he passed away. So Peter Mayhew, rest in peace. Rest in peace. Rest in peace.
I just wanted to give him a moment of honor.
Yeah, very sad. Yes, he gets many Fs. Press F for Peter. Very sad. It's like all of our childhood heroes are sort of dying.
Well, we lost Carrie Fisher, we lost Kenny Baker, and now we lost Peter Mayhew.
We did lose Kenny Baker, yeah.
So.
Yeah. So. Oh, he was rude as hell to me, and not.
Oh, that's terrible.
Okay, well,
wow, I haven't ever heard good things, but I'm sure everybody has bad days.
Yeah, yeah. We did see the new Peter Mayhew. Well, not the new Peter Mayhew. I mean, the new Chewbacca, who's basically a very, very tall PewDiePie, and he was at Celebration. Junus something or other, unpronounceable in Swedish, but he seemed excited to be there. But
he seemed friendly.
I don't know.
So we just wanted to make sure everybody said happy, Star Wars Day. I know that a lot of people are not very happy with Star Wars right now, but my take is I will continue to love and embrace what I love, and I will continue to ignore what I don't. And you were going to talk about that. Do you have that pulled up?
I think I have a version of it pulled up. I don't have the actual article, but basically JJ Abrams is coming out and kind of politely throwing Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy under the bus. If you read between the lines, he has more or less said that, he's going to do the best he can do with what he's got to work with.
Which isn't much now.
Because they changed direction on him with episode 8.
And like I said before,
there hasn't been a lot of leadership.
When there comes to a series, whether it be, books or movies or television show or whatever, the usual method for this is how it starts. You know how it finishes. And in this case, it would have 3 movies. So we know this one's going to be this theme, and this theme, and here's what's going to happen in this one to lead to the next one, to lead to the next, next one, and how it's going to end. That's usually all laid out at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I just can't wrap my head around why you would take something like Star Wars and flip and not do that. I just can't understand it. I just can't. Hello to everybody coming in.
Yeah, I can't find the actual article that I had I was reading it the other day. I was actually reading it when I was on the bus in between things. Somebody sent it to me and I can't find it. But he basically, I guess in an interview, kind of said that there wasn't really a whole lot of direction with Star Wars. They didn't have it laid out, and he's not real happy with where things were at.
Well, I'm not. I think a lot of people aren't happy with where things were at. Yeah. It's just what do you do now? And I just choose.
Bring the Emperor back.
I just choose to ignore the last one. And and we'll go on and see what comes next. I didn't really like Force Awakens either, because I still think that was crap. They didn't put them all together, but that's just me.
Yeah. It says Revenge of the Sixth. Ooh, I don't know.
I just can't understand how you could possibly plot these out and not have a direction for all 3 movies. I just can't wrap my head around that. Especially something like Star Wars. It's not like, it's, some little, C-list series that no one cares about. It's flipping Star Wars. I'm like, how do you pick up Star Wars? So I'm just saying.
Yeah. How long until Rian Johnson uses Peter's death to premiere episode 9? Oh my God. I hope they don't go there. I hope they don't go there.
I hope they don't either. But they used Larry Atilia's death for She-Ra, and then I'm going to talk about something with Burger King that they're doing now, using mental health issues. So it's just like, let's just use whatever we can to leverage, which is really, really crap. So it's really it's total crap. You don't do that.
No. But for JJ Abrams to come out, he doesn't care. This is his last Star Wars project, I'm sure, for the foreseeable future. And he's like, how am I going to end this thing?
It's kind of like Mark Hamill. He just like, I don't give a crap anymore.
He doesn't care. Mark Hamill doesn't care. Mark Hamill's just saying whatever the hell he feels like saying these days, which I think is kind of awesome.
Yeah,
it's great to like. There's a lot of the way he does it. It's sort of playful. Like, oh, is he joking? It's like, nah, man, he's not. He's not joking.
That's like us. We just say it. I mean, it's like, and
it gets us in trouble.
It does get us.
It does get us in trouble. Sometimes.
Anyway, so now you can talk about the comic industry. I just wanted to get this out of the way.
I've got this pulled up too. I don't know if we want to go there.
Oh yeah, we'll have to talk about that later.
Oh bother.
Yeah, there is some bother.
Okay, so the comic book industry. Comic book industry is not in a real good place right now. I know a lot of people talk about it. We've talked about it somewhat, and now we're going to go down the rabbit hole a little bit. This is an article from The Guardian, and I've wondered this myself. I've wondered, if comics are doing so fantastic and you see the numbers and they're like, comics are great, comics are making a comeback. Literally, like every other week, a comic shop is going out of business.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's like, if comics are doing so freaking fantastic, why are comic shops going out of business? And we might actually have somewhat of an answer here if you look at the numbers and you look at what they're counting as the comic book industry, right? So we're going to start with The Guardian. The Guardian coming out and saying that, the success of the movies is not helping comic shops. It's not helping comic shops at all. So why are comic shops closing as superheroes make a mint? The latest Avengers film is expected to take in $1 billion in opening. It's actually up to almost $2 billion.
It's like $2 billion now.
But shops that are those characters' natural homes are battling to stay in business.
You mean like we said back, when that, they only care about the characters for the movies and they don't really care about the comics? No. They need the comics to keep the stories alive. And we're like, no, they don't. They have decades of stuff. So you mean like that? You don't need the character. Even the movies are popular, the comics don't have to be, because you don't need the comics to have the characters.
Pretty much. That's what we've been saying. People are like, "No, man, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about." No, this is totally what's going on.
We're full of shit, but we knew what we were talking about with this.
Yeah, we are full of shit sometimes. But
we try not to be.
Try not to be. Wouldn't the world would be a better place if we weren't right? Because a lot of times we might have been
truth enemas. I'm sorry.
Truth enemas. Yeah, if we weren't doling out truth enemas, the world would be a better place, because some of the things we talk about, it's like it's too ridiculous to be true, and it winds up being true. So, talking about the medium in which superheroes originate, the comic book industry, the high street is not as bulletproof as multiplexes, and comic shops are having a tough time of it. Dozens of closures have been reported across the UK and the US over the last few months, at least they're admitting it, including in January, the end of St. Mark's Comics. I talked about that on Twitter. That was kind of a landmark in New York. It was a big deal. Once one of New York's most venerable institutions, even appeared in Sex and the City. Last year, comics website Bleeding Cool documented how 50 comic shops had closed in the previous year, both the U.S. and the U.K. And since June of last year, at least 21 shops in the U.S. and 11 in the U.K., including shops in Nottingham, Ramsgate, and Tooting. I want to live in Tooting.
I do too. That sounds fun.
I want to live in Tooting. God, that would be awesome. Have closed, with others likely going unreported. I agree with that. That's just the UK. In the US, it's a lot more dire. Because we've actually had Peter Mayhew on here, and he said that he's lost a good chunk of his list. And I think a lot of the smaller shops, you don't hear about them going out of business because, it's just sort of, they're under the radar. The local mom and pop shops. Well, you're going to hear about St. Mark's, but you will not hear about Joe's comic book.
Warren mentioned, this is the article that talking about rents. Well, they go on here about talking like businesses. You have to have, rent, business rates, wages, insurance, all of that. And on top of it, if you're not selling anything,
you can't pay it.
And they keep jacking the prices. They keep over shipping them, expecting them to pay for it. All those things factor in.
Right. So, while superheroes have never had a higher profile, this is true, the gap between cinema and comics has never been wider. Maybe this is a good day to talk about Free Comic Book Day, because today is Free Comic Book Day.
We can't go, but it's Free Comic Book Day for those of you who got to go.
We can't go to Free Comic Book Day because we used to have comic shops close to us. That is no longer the case. They've all gone out of business. The closest shop to us is about an hour away, and I'm not even sure they participate in Free Comic Book Day.
Oh, we know the one that's close to us do not, because they said that it was by a college. And what would happen would be the college kids would come in just to get free stuff, wouldn't buy anything, never would come back. And then parents would bring their kids in dressed as characters, like trick-or-treating with bags, thinking they were going to get like free candy and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
and that's exactly what happened. It was like free candy. Tyler Preston wants to know if we're going to talk about Ethan Van Sciver's Cyberfrog Vampirella crossover. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
It's on the list.
How this sort of...
That's for you too. Go ahead.
how this sort of dovetails in with what's kind of actually going on here in the comic book industry and what counts as the quote-unquote comic book industry, right? So the days when you could pick up the latest issue of Spider-Man or Batman from the newsagents, shelves are long gone. Here it would be like a 7-Eleven. Last week, comic book writer Ron Mars tweeted, yeah, Ron Mars he's real pleasant on Twitter, I guess, tweeted that during a presentation to a school class, one girl raised her hand and asked him where she could actually buy comics. You know what? We used to get asked this question too when we would, I worked on the Disney comics. We would take the Disney comics to different events. And people would be like, oh my God, they still make comic books.
No, that's what happened. Not even that, with our own stuff. They're like, wait, they still make comic books?
Yeah.
We're like, it's a Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, we've actually been asked at pop culture conventions. We've been asked.
They were called Comic-Cons.
They were calling it a Comic-Con, but it was a pop culture convention.
People were like, wait, you can buy comics still? They still make those?
They still make comic books?
I kid you not, and that happened on more than one occasion.
Yeah, it has happened, yes.
So what a Vampirina, Vampirella cross. Yeah, that would be glorious. That would be hilarious. I don't think that would be sanctioned by Disney. Anyway, go ahead.
So, why are so many going out of business? They can't sell.
I just said that, but they're high rents and stuff.
Yeah, like other retailers, high rents. Staff wages, insurance, profit margins on comics are so narrow.
Yeah, they're making it more expensive.
Yeah, they are. $4, and once Diamond takes a cut, you're left with like not even a buck.
And then no one's buying them.
No, because they cost $4, So narrow to make this a very delicate balancing act. There isn't a huge profit in comics and graphic novels, said Jared.
Are you going to read the whole thing?
I am.
Oh, God.
I
we'll
got
be here
like 9 articles. We're having a discussion, says Jared Myland of OK Comics in Leeds. Nobody gets in the comic retail to be a millionaire.
Well, then why would you do it?
They talk about returnability. The returnability is an issue, and that, again, is something that Peter Smetty talked about with Alterna. Basically, retailers aren't ordering comics that they can't return. They can't afford to take a chance on it.
You can't.
Which kind of kills the indies. Kind of kills the oh, God, they quote Rich Johnston in here. Despite the launch of comic book apps such as the Amazon-owned Comixology or Marvel's Unlimited, comics have weathered digital challenges better than other print media. It's debatable. According to Rich Johnston of Blinkpool, with digital purchases only accounting for around 15% of overall sales, at least they are admitting it. The digital sales are not.
I don't think it's more than that, but that's just me.
I don't know. Well, it might be more now because I think people, if they can't get to a comic shop like us, like we
have to buy them digitally.
Yeah, we were reviewing the Rainbow Bright comic, and the only way we could get it, I wasn't driving an hour and a half, to go pick up a Rainbow Bright comic book. I'm like, we'll buy the digital,
right.
We'll do it there, right? Despite regularly reposting shop closures, he's upbeat about their future.
And of course he is, because that's part of his job. That's what. No. But meanwhile, besides being upbeat about that, he started covering an awful lot of new things lately. Like I've seen a lot of things that they're started covering recently, like Disney stuff,
video games,
that they weren't really covering before.
He knows.
But if comic books are, and he's so sure they're going to survive. Why the diversification? I'm just saying.
Yeah. So at least they are admitting it. They're admitting it that the shops are closing, and yeah, there is a divide. I mean, just because the general public loves the Avengers, loves Spider-Man, loves Batman, doesn't mean they're going to go buy comic books. And this has always kind of been the case, but it seems like the divide is more.
Well, Brad says, I don't think the digital sales are as big as they claim, but they post the numbers all the time. Well, that's true. What I'm talking about for digital sales aren't the stuff they're selling, because no one wants it in print or digital. I'm talking about they don't often count the stuff people do want, but it's mostly in digital, and they don't count it, well, until now.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that. This is really clever.
They haven't counted it previously.
Billy Ritchie, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Could Marvel consider printing through Amazon Press instead of Diamond? Your boy Zach made a good video about that. Disney doesn't care about local comic shops. Well,
actually, you said that a long time ago.
We've discussed that. Yeah, Disney doesn't care about local comic shops. Disney, they don't. So, in the grand scheme of things, if Disney is looking to pinch pennies, which
they are,
with the streaming services and all this other stuff they're doing,
and all the park expansions and things,
they could just go kind of the route of. I know some of the Boomerang Hanna-Barbera shows, they do sort of print-on-demand DVDs of certain shows. I could see them doing it. I could just be like, what, we're just going to do print-on-demand graphic novels, and people want them. We'll just collect so many issues of the old stuff and sell it to them, and we're not going to keep an inventory. I could totally see them doing it at some point. I mean, I don't think it's right around the corner, but given how many graphic novels you see in the clearance bins at Ollie's and stuff, I could see it happening soon. I think that the single issues are about done. So, anyway.
I'm trying to figure out where you're going with this. So.
Well, no, where I'm going with this, how do you make comic shops mainstream again?
I would love to know.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's more realistic instead of having a comic book shop to actually get comic books into more mainstream retail outlets.
Right. Or if you're going to have a shop, make it more of a pop culture shop with comic books. Or have something else be the focus with comic books in it. I hate saying that, but the way the market is, I think that's what you're going to have to do.
Yeah, you have to go where people are. And people aren't even...
You got to go where the people are. I'd sing, but I can't sing. My voice is gone. I actually sing. Dang it.
Okay, so...
Right now I sound like garbage.
Speaking of your boy, Zach, he actually did point this out, and I went and looked it up for myself, and sure enough, here it is. The comic book sales numbers. So everybody's going on. This is what threw me. I'm like, why is everybody talking about comic books doing better when clearly... the shops are closing at an alarming rate. And it depends on what your definition of the comic book industry is. And this year, for the very first time, they're padding their numbers out with an other category that includes crowdfunding. And
yeah, they never really counted that before.
Yeah, because it's funny because they got this numbers. So now they're like, oh, look, we're doing as good as we did in 2016. Yeah, because you're probably adding a couple hundred million here. Via some clever juggling, but I'm telling you, overall, the shops are going down. They're going down. Mr. Zorg, hello. Didn't have to do that. My local comic store shifted to an online store. I now buy digital, except for Indiegogo campaigns. It's way more convenient and better for the planet. Well, actually, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, as someone who has, at one point had a very large collection of floppy comics.
Oh yeah, I remember
They're very hard to store. Many, many long boxes. They have to be the right condition. You got to make sure, stuff's not getting ruined. And if people just want to read comics, I mean, honestly, digital, it's like you can have like an infinite number of comic books on an iPad or something.
Right. Well,
if you're just looking
to
read,
not amount at a store, but
Well, yeah.
But the thing about this is, I think it's funny that they're counting crowdfunding now. Is crowdfunding's been around for many, 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 many years. And there were some big campaigns that were indie comics, web comics, and things that got like millions of dollars.
Yep, we're gonna go there.
Oh, it's in the article, and they didn't count it then. And we're talking like just one campaign was getting like $1 million, and we didn't count. They didn't count that then.
Right, and it's so funny because some of the campaigns they refuse to acknowledge are making up a pretty good chunk of what they're attributing
to. Right, for this year. But I'm saying about the ones like you go back
years,
and like I'm trying to remember when did they do the one with
Order of the Stick?
Yeah,
did. Yeah, Order of the Stick did on Kickstarter. I think it's still the highest funded comic book Kickstarter. It was like 1.2 million.
When was that?
That was like 5-6
yeah, I was
years
to say
ago.
like something like that, like 2013 or something like that. So they didn't count it then, and now they're counting it because they have to make. Oh shit, we're looking bad. Hurry, get all the crowdfunding numbers. Count them.
Yeah,
it's just.
Well, that's what they're doing to try to make the case there. But they also admit in this article that the digital sales aren't that fantastic. The crowdfunding numbers. Now, I do remember a couple months ago, Kickstarter came out and said that they had $16 million last year in crowdfunded comics. And they said that I believe there's $20 million in crowdfunding. So they're probably just taking, Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Mm-hmm. And half of that, I'm sure the Comicsgate crew probably made half of the Indiegogo amount easy just themselves. So very interesting. But yeah, they're talking about how it's growing. But here, you get down here. We've added a new category, other, to our channel breakdown. Other includes the newsstand and crowdfunding, Kickstarter, etc. This year, those two channels each accounted for roughly half of the other category. So, again, as far as I know, previously they did not count crowdfunding toward
I don't think they did, no.
Comics. So now
we had to find other things to make the numbers look good.
Because if they didn't count crowdfunding, we would probably be down here somewhere. And they're juggling the books around, I think, to make it look like comics is in a better state than it actually is. Nightmare X123, thank you, didn't have to do that. Comic shops and GameStop game stores should join forces. I wouldn't disagree with that. Even though GameStop is on a decline, I think the combination of the two could be a real shakeup.
I agree, because they're doing things like, for example, Kohl's. Kohl's wasn't doing so great, so now Amazon's coming into Kohl's, and Toys R Us popping up at grocery stores because they're joining forces for retail. So GameStop and comic shops make sense. They have to think geek in the GameStops and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense because GameStop's gonna be hurting pretty soon because pretty much all all the games are going to go to digital downloads. So what are they going to sell? Pop vinyls. Well, where are the comic shops selling? Pop vinyls.
Pop vinyls, yeah. So.
Perfect. It's a perfect match, right? It's a perfect match. But they talk about how they're relying more on graphic novel sales through non-traditional channels, and it's kind of a weird. But
they're going to acknowledge what they've ignored for years. They didn't count it.
That's just
you're
it.
just indie. You're not real. I thought the gatekeepers didn't like that.
Now, I remember a time, it wasn't too long ago, I remember a time when the mainstream comic book industry used to mock the people who had to resort to using things like Kickstarter. It wasn't It wasn't just that they were against the Comicsgate people. This
is pre-Comicsgate.
This is pre-Comicsgate. They were against, at one point, the mainstream comic book industry hated webcomics.
They did.
They thought it was amateur hour. The mainstream comic book industry did not like crowdfunding. They thought it was... now, it's so funny. They actually had in the Comics Journal, they talked about how it was very desperate to panhandle. And then like 2 years later, Fantagraphics, which owns the Comics Journal, had to resort to panhandling just to publish its line. And, all of Fantagraphics that year, as I remember, it was a little over 100,000. And now there are individual creators pulling many times that,
but it gives power to the consumer, which is what they're afraid of.
That's what they're afraid of. And that's really where this comes.
You can't tell you what you have to buy.
And I think, in the situation with comic shops, and it's really unfortunate. I think they're just sort of going to wind up being, collateral damage where, for the consumers to get the kinds of comics they want, a lot of times they have to buy directly from the creators, support the creators, because the publishers aren't giving them what they want. And this is all the way around. This isn't just Comicsgate. This is other independent, creators too. This has been the case with webcomics and stuff like that.
Right.
So, when that happens, you're effectively cutting the comic shops, out of the equation. And it's unfortunate. I mean, it really is unfortunate. And I mean, we've tried to get our books into comic shops, but we can't give them the margins.
Right.
Because we print in such small quantities, they're used to these ridiculous margins at Diamond. They buy the books for like half price or whatever it is, and it's like, we can't do that.
Yeah,
there's
so
no
we
way.
do ours we do our
no
comic online, and you can go read it now if you go to shadowbinders.com. But
we're reworking the comic. We're gonna bring it back.
Yeah. So anyway, but my point is now what they're worried about is now you can support creators directly. You don't need all the middlemen and all the people jacking the prices up and all that stuff to pay this person, that person, or whatever. Now you just pay the creators you want to pay. So it's kind of like if with TV, you get to pick your own channels. You don't have to buy a package anymore if you don't want to. And what they don't like is, they used to be able to, if you want this good one, you have to take all this crap, and now it's like you don't have to do that. So that's why they're freaking out. They're freaking out because, you have the power. You get to decide where your money goes, and you don't have to just buy what they say.
No, and this is nothing new. I mean, this has been going on for years. I mean, webcomics creators have been doing this for 10 years. 10 years now. They pretty much, since the beginning of Kickstarter, they've been crowdfunding. Even before that, they were doing kind of their own, homemade Patreon, to support their comics. So there's always been a market for comics that exist outside of the mainstream. And there are people who've done very, very well for themselves at it.
I'm sorry, like Warren's comment, biggest mistakes in graphic media from beginner artists to big publishers assuming manga is just about the look. I agree with that, because a lot of times their stories are far superior. And they tell stories better. I mean, that's just the way it is.
There's more character development. I think because they're decompressed, but they try to do that with superhero comics. We talked when we had Aaron on before. We've talked about the coffee shop scenes. Mm-hmm. That would work in a 200-page manga or graphic novel, but when you're reading a 32-page book, you don't have time to sit down and have a cup of coffee for 5 pages. People want to see stuff blow up. Yeah. So, all right. So where are we going?
I don't know. I'm asking you. Please tell me, because I don't know where you're going.
I'm going down the. Okay. So digital comics.
You're going down a hole. Yeah, you're going somewhere.
Going down the hole. People are into this. You're
going down a hole, okay.
Digital comic sales growing again. Subscriptions growing faster than a la carte. So people are subscribing to comics to make sure they don't miss them. Probably, I think this goes hand in hand with the shops closing. I don't think the shops are closing because of digital comics. I think it's a situation like us where, we're not going to travel to a comic book shop to pick up the latest issue of whatever that we want to check out. We're just going to go ahead and just buy the digital version, right? How much is it? Okay, really good stuff. How much is the cost of an animated freebie for showing to companies? Like a pilot? Well, just to do like a little short could be hundreds of thousands of dollars.
If you have people animating.
If it's a professional, if it's professional. So, which is something we've looked at some point, but anyway, so they said digital comic sales in U.S. and Canada were around 100 million in 2018. That's up 10 million. And again, I think this goes hand in hand with, just people they're not going to comic shops now because they can't, because they're going out of business. So, some collateral damage, I think. This is where the fun begins. No, this is not fun. This is actually, kind of depressing. IDW, we've talked a little bit about them. There are YouTubers out there like Tug that talk a lot about IDW. I've actually worked for IDW before. I've freelanced for them. It's very sad to see how far they've fallen in a few short years because they were chasing Hollywood. So anyway, they're in big trouble, right? And they're trying to raise some money now to basically stay in business, and they're falling short. So this is coming from Bleeding Cool, and they're, I'm not going to bore you with the details. It means that on the most basic level, IDW didn't raise as much money as they were looking for, but they did raise some money, $13.8 million out of $22 to $25 million in addition. Current IDW Media Holdings chairman, CEO, and controlling stockholder Howard Jonas, I think he fronted them money to keep them in business, was planning, according to the first announcement, to purchase $5 million of stock. Blah blah blah. Basically, they were chasing pilots, TV pilots, and Winona Earp, I guess, didn't get picked up again for another season. So they effectively flushed a bunch of money down the toilet, if I'm reading this right. Comics is not the most important thing to IDW now, which is good because most of their books only sell like 3,000 to 5,000 copies. Like, I don't know how they stay in business. I really don't. I don't think they're going to stay in business very long, at least not as a comic book publisher. No. But they are kind of the collateral damage, I think, of the comic book industry declining like this. You're going to have companies like IDW, possibly, Dark Horse, some of these small, like mid-tier publishers boom. If the direct market collapses, these people are toast.
Well, someone asked if we think Super Sky. I want to know if we think Marvel and DC fire all the SJW writers and reboot their universes to erase their stories. Do you think people would come back? I don't know. I think a lot of damage has already been done.
I think people have gotten out of the habit of reading comic books. I mean, I do think there are the diehards, and I mean, clearly with crowdfunding, there are people out there who will buy comics. But I mean, as far as, superhero comics ever becoming a really, really mainstream hobby again, I don't know. I really don't know. I think the damage has been done for so long. I think that the comics basically marginalized itself into oblivion. Whereas you look at Japan, where manga is huge and everybody reads manga. When that Earp was picked up, it was picked up for a fourth season. Let me see. Hold on.
I don't know. I don't follow it.
It said drama is in addition to loans IDW has taken to finance its television productions, as well as the halting of production on Winona Earp season 4 due to lack of funds.
Oh, see, I don't watch it. So
the memorandum was found. I've never even watched the show, so I have no idea. The memorandum was found and surfaced by passionate fans of that show using Fight for Winona on Twitter. IDW Media Holdings operated a net loss of $4.1 million in the 3-month period from November 8, 2018 to 2019. How did they lose that much money? They don't do a lot.
Here's an idea. Why don't they just go out and ask all those people they're catering to give them the money they need? Because, clearly if you cater to those people, that's gonna keep you afloat. So why don't you just go flat out ask them to give you the money? Why don't you do a crowdfunding campaign and tell those people who want to see more of the same that they can give you money? Because they won't.
Yeah, I think that's IDW especially. IDW has chased the wrong audience for the last couple of years now, and they basically chase people who don't really buy comic books.
Oh, snap! You are here live.
You're here live. You're here live. And that's, and I'm just, it is what it is. They've chased an audience that doesn't really buy comic books. These are the same people that we're talking with, folks on Twitter that, the hipster crowd. We talked about the hipster crowd.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to tell my hipster story.
Tell your hipster story.
Well, first of all, I'm Empress of the World. Thank you. No, I'm kidding. I would not be that arrogant. Maybe queen, princess.
You are my queen.
Anyway, my hipster story. I put it on Twitter, but I love the story because it just sums up these kind of people. I was in Goodwill because I love Goodwill. I shop there all the time, or like thrift stores. And I was in Goodwill, and I saw these people walk in. And they were like 20-something, and they were dressed in like 70s and like vintage clothes. And I was on the phone with Neon, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I was telling them about it because they were coming in. They're very pretentious. It wasn't that I dressed like that because I love retro and vintage stuff myself. I mean, I love it. And I was like, cool, but then they came in real pretentious. And then then Neon said to me, what are they going to do? Go for the records? I turn around and the guy literally has himself on the floor with all the records spread around him. Like making this big show of spraying out all the records around him on the floor so no one can get past him. He had to go all around him while he was going through all the vinyl and looking for what ones he wanted and taking them out each out and holding them to the light. And I just started laughing because you said that as a joke and that's exactly what they did.
I joked, but I hate to say it, sometimes stereotypes exist for a reason. And I've seen hipsters in their vinyl fetish.
Thank you, user unknown. Anyway, but it's just, I know, but it's a funny story. I'm repeating it again, but it was so funny. You had to be there. But it was just so funny because you just happened to joke about that. But it was the attitude of these people, and that's what these people remind me of. Is that story is like these people. Anyway, sorry.
Neon for 24. Clown World is go. Yeah, pretty much. I agree with this. Brad says hobbies can only survive if a new generation is brought in. When you price the kids and teens out of your products, they don't come back to buy more. Yeah, I really think that our generation, I think, was probably the last generation. Because you look at the people who are really talking about comics on YouTube, and you look at people talk about comics, the actual superhero comics. And there's a lot of people that talk about graphic novels and web comics. I'm talking about the core superhero comic business, and they do tend to be older, and I think I think our generation was the last generation that actually, that grew up with comic books, reading comic books regularly as a form of entertainment, and like the kids that came after us, they don't have that emotional connection to it. It doesn't mean anything to them. It doesn't.
They just repurpose it like She-Ra.
Yeah, they'll be collecting it like vinyl. They'll
not salty or anything.
30 years from now, all these whatever you're gonna call them, future hipsters. Space hipsters. They'll be spreading the comic books out on the floor of the Goodwill.
I'm sorry.
Pretending they were there. Pretending they cared about comics.
I have to laugh because he said Neon is a big teddy bear, and it's funny because he's very tall. Neon is very tall, and he used to wear a black trench coat and stuff like that. My mom, when she first saw him, she was a little bit freaked out by him. But after being around him, she keeps saying he was the scariest bunny you ever saw.
The scariest bunny she ever saw.
She said, "You're the scary bunny," because he looks scary, but he's not. He would look scary, but he wasn't. But you didn't think he looked scary.
I didn't think I looked scary. People said
now you wear colors and you're much friendlier since you met me. But true that. Okay, anyway. So what else are we gonna talk about? Because
okay, so IDW's in the shitter. Nothing new here.
What else is new? I was gonna say, how is this new?
How is this new? CB Cebulski, the editor-in-chief of Marvel.
Oh my God! Again?
Apparently, he's got an idea to sell 1 million comic books, and it's probably a Star Wars relaunch.
What?
Because Rob Liefeld did really well with Major X at Marvel.
Yeah.
Rob Liefeld's coming back, and the 90s stuff is actually doing really well.
Yeah, because it was all everybody looked the same. They were talking about that on Twitter, and I agree. That's a big part of it.
I remember when Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man sold 1 million copies easy.
Yeah.
And then they kept going back and reprinting it. It sold like a ridiculous. Marvel's known as the House of Ideas, or running out of ideas, which can sometimes seem like an ironic nickname considering, with a few exceptions. In some ways, it seems like the publisher hasn't had an actual... I agree
with you.
And this is coming from Jude Terror. June Terror, that's his other name. No, Jude Terror, who has attacked Comicsgate on many occasions. Actually, from where I'm sitting, having read Jude's articles over the years, I think he was actually proto-Comicsgate, because a lot of the stuff he says, Comicsgaters are saying, which is so ironic that he's constantly at odds with them. But it seems like they run out of ideas. They're rehashes of older stories. I agree. Trading on nostalgia. Very few new characters in Marvel. So Major X is a story conceived of by Rob Liefeld in the early 90s and set during that time period. So we're kind of going back to that.
Okay, so what are they going to do? I'll get to the point.
They think it's going to be, well, Cebulski said this, yesterday? Is that yesterday? Yeah, Thursday, yesterday. What day am I on?
It's the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, the last comic to sell 1 million copies was Star Wars #1, which was almost 5 years ago. I feel it's about time we publish another title. Sells over 7 figures, and I think I have an idea.
Wait, he's serious. I thought he was kidding.
Squirrel Girl relaunch.
Yep. Captain Marvel again.
Captain Marvel. Again, a closer inspection of Cebulski's tweet, it seems like he's hinting at relaunching Star Wars with a new #1.
Oh my gosh, what a novel idea. They've never done that before.
They've never done that before. 5 years is long overdue by Marvel standards for a relaunch. And there's already like 7 more super mega crossover events known to be happening in the near future, so there's not any room for any of those. Even Newsarama is theorizing on what's going to happen, so it's probably what Cebulski is talking about. Can Marvel sell 1 million copies of Star Wars 1 without Loot Crate? Yeah, that's... Okay.
Okay, Loot Crate, yes.
Loot Crate, that's dubious because people aren't buying the comics specifically. They're not... But they pack these comics in Loot Crate, and then they counted those numbers toward the bottom line.
I remember that. So, they did that a few times.
They did it with Rocket Raccoon. They did it with...
I remember. We have those, actually. We have some Batman, of those, comics, because we had Loot Crate back then.
So they pretty much have to give the comic books away to get people to... buy comic books.
Hello, everybody coming in, because I see people saying hello.
Yeah, we've got.
Yeah, so hello. You know, when you count those, I mean, people didn't have the choice of buying it. They bought the Loot Crate and just happened to come with it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
They wanted a Star Wars Loot Crate, but the comic just happened to come. I mean, I'm sure most people wouldn't have asked for that. They would have rather had a new pop vinyl or something else. Star Wars socks. They weren't given a choice.
No, they just get whatever crap they put. Is Loot Crate still a thing? Like,
it's not a Star Wars relaunch, huh?
Yes. Cebulski says it's not Star Wars, so they'll kill somebody. They'll kill somebody off, or they will reset the Marvel universe to 1992. It's always going to be 1992 in the Marvel universe when sales were good. I don't know.
Well, the sales weren't that good in the 90s. Someone pointed out. That's when you were trying to get a job there. I told you that they weren't going to hire you because they have people that are well-known names that couldn't get work.
Why does Princess Leia have cankles?
I don't know.
She's got some thick thighs going on.
Maybe some women are built that way.
Yeah, but okay. He came out today saying it's not a Star Wars book. I see this. They're announcing a Spidey book tomorrow. Brevoort was talking about Hickman transforming the X-Men. Like I said, it's going to be 1992 all over again. All the 1992...
When did we sell a lot of comics last?
1992.
Let's go do that again.
We got Rob Liefeld back doing mutant characters. Let's roll the clock back. And then simultaneously, we're going to roll the clock back and then attack all these comic skaters on Twitter for wanting the clock to roll back to the 90s.
Someone's being loud. That was the car outside. I was doing an impression.
Yeah, that was geeky. So
I do impressions. That's my revving motor.
That's your revving.
She's
Chun-Leia. Oh my god.
It's just, so maybe a Spider-Man. Okay.
I'm just like giving Bleeding Cool all kinds of hits, but I had to turn the ad blocker on because it's Bleeding Cool and I don't want a virus. So, Ethan and Skyver commissions retailer exclusive Dynamite crossover covers with Cyberfrog. And they make sure they get some personal digs in there.
Do they? I didn't get to read this.
Yeah. So, they actually highlight a comment calling Ethan names. But, so I was trying to figure out what's going on. I actually had somebody write me and say, hey, did you hear that? And I hadn't heard any of it, that Ethan's book was going to get carried by Dynamite. And I'm like, oh my God, people are going to completely freak out.
And they did?
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Yeah, of course they did. Cesario John, thank you, didn't have to do that. 80s, 90s pretty much had the best of everything. Music, TV, cars, toys. Arguably the best sci-fi TV shows like Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5 up here then. I would agree. Clownfish, save us from the NPCs.
I don't know how. I'm sorry.
Although we did find out, we knew this before, but clownfish, they swim in the anemones, and they're immune to the poison. So you could lure your enemies into the anemones, and they could get stung, and you would.
You better be careful. Someone's gonna say you're making death threats.
Swim away. I didn't say they'd die. I just said it might hurt a little bit.
They're gonna be like, "Oh no, you're making death threats now."
Oh my
God. Go ahead.
Okay, so apparently I was trying to figure out what was going on here because, I have been gone. I don't know. I just knew somebody told me that Van Sciver was going to release Cyberfrog through Dynamite, or his company was going to work with Dynamite or something like that, and I knew the internet was going to completely lose its shit because that's what they do.
They had a truth enema.
A truth anemone. That would be even more painful.
Oh, that sounds dangerous. That sounds like ouch. You can't sit for a week.
Back in the day, this is coming from Rich Johnson, retailers used to commission Star Comics creators to draw a cover for an upcoming comic book, usually from DC or Marvel, that would be exclusive to their store. This is true. Each store would have to order thousands of copies to make it worthwhile. This is true. Some enterprising artists realized they could commission themselves to draw exclusive covers of such comics, get the publishers to print them, and then sell them online or at shows, signed or unsigned, for a considerable markup. J. Scott Campbell, Rob Liefeld, John Tyler Christopher are among those creators who have done so the most, and soon the habit spread. So they do a lot of shows. Liefeld especially does Wizard and J. Scott Campbell. So they're going to move them. I mean, you do an exclusive Deadpool cover or something,
right.
They're going to move them. Dynamite which asked for fewer minimum copies to be printed than Marvel and DC. Dan Panosian did such for Red Sonja 1, and they did this anyway. Anyway, so the latest, it seems, is Ethan Van Sciver. No longer working for major comics publishers and fresh from last summer's they're
acknowledging it.
Actually acknowledging
well, now because it matters, because it counts the numbers they're trying to use to prop up the comic industry.
now that Van Sciver's Indiegogo actually throws $1 million into the comic book kitty.
Yeah.
Is that what we call it? Do we call it the kitty? The pile? The kitty. Now Bleeding Cool, since he's part of the comic book industry once again, will acknowledge that it was successful. Yeah. None of the comic book blogs would actually touch Van Sciver's crowdfunding campaigns or Diversity in Comics crowdfunding campaigns other than to bash them because they were terrified of the amounts of money that these people were making. Miko, hello, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Do you think 2019 and 2020 will be the neo-90s? I think the 90s nostalgia is definitely coming back.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, look at the movies coming out. Mm-hmm. I mean, we got Sonic the Hedgehog, which looks like shit, but we've got Pokemon coming out too. We had a Power Rangers movie. I guarantee you they're going to strip mine all this 90s stuff. I mean, even Aladdin. Okay, so they're bringing Aladdin back and The Lion King.
And Mulan.
Within, a year or two of each other. And we've got, Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, playing the genie. I mean, it's the 90s or the new 80s. Mm-hmm. Or something like that. Okay. Did we talk about Jim Cummings? Yeah. Speaking of Disney, yeah, we will. They now need EVS and Comicsgate to prop up their industry numbers. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, it's come to that.
With fronds like these, who needs anemones? Says Career Loose Stromboli. Thank you. Didn't have to do that. So anyway, they said his very successful Indiegogo campaign. Yeah, I think he's close to $1 million on various iterations of Cyberfrog, if I am not mistaken. However, the comic is yet to be published. Ethan is now commissioning himself to draw Cyberfrog variant covers to Dynamite Entertainment titles because he used to well, it's complicated. They go into it here. So showing his cyborg amphibian interacting with other characters published by Dynamite. At one point, Vampirella and Cyberfrog were both published by Harris Publications. True. Ethan has done artwork for Vampirella trading cards and inked the Vampirella Shadowhawk crossover in the day. I didn't know that. So this wouldn't be the first time he's been involved with the character, but here there are more to come. One might consider Chaos, Panther, and others as prime Cyberfrog crossover comics. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, traditionally, creators who purchase the comics are treated the same as any retailer. Whether creators of any of those books will have any say in who gets to do retail or exclusive variant covers of their books, I don't know. Translation. Will some of the creators of these books with these covers by Ethan Van Sciver complain that
they
Ethan Van
get to
Sciver,
veto it if we tell them to veto it? Do they get to? Do they have veto power if we make a stink on the internet and tell them?
If the comic book hive mind puts enough pressure on these creators, will they tell Ethan Van Sciver that his Nazi money is no good?
Yeah,
that's basically his Nazi gold is no good.
Hello to all new people, guys. Someone said hello.
Oh, hello. We've got new people. Basically means that Van Sciver has bought hundreds of copies of the same comic with the cover he drew for a wholesale price that retailers pay maybe around $2 each. He gets to sell them at the markup, so he can sell for what, $4 at a con or whatever he wants to sell for. Sign it, yada yada. That's it. One way to get. Got to get a dig in there, Rich. Well, it's one way to get a Cyberfrog comic out there for convention season. Draw the character on the cover of someone else's comic and sell that.
Well, you know what? They have blank comic covers all the time that you can put whatever you want in the cover of other comics and sell
sketch
that.
covers.
So
I mean how's any different than a sketch cover?
It's no different. That's my point.
Yeah, it's no different.
That is my point. It's no different.
Look, my feeling on this, and this is what I tweeted about the other week when I had my little missive, was you don't like Ethan Van Sciver, that's fine. You don't have to like Ethan Van Sciver. Don't buy his comic book. I mean, is it really that hard?
No, and that's what I don't understand about any of this. You don't like it, don't buy it.
Don't buy his comic book. You don't like him, don't buy his comic book.
There's a lot of times people say things I don't like. You know what I do? I act like an adult and I keep scrolling or I walk away. Because you don't have to argue about everything if you don't agree with somebody. I mean, not everything has to be argued, but there are some people who don't seem to understand that. So yeah, I'm just saying, it's called being an adult, being reasonable.
So, so I had heard something about Van Sciver and Dynamite. I think before it's all said and done, look, the Comicsgate books, whether or not you agree with Comicsgate, the books have been incredibly successful from a financial point of view. Okay, They're giving consumers what they want. They're giving them like 90s style comics, which now Marvel is starting to take a cue from that. And they're doing well with it.
I know, which is funny. I think it's,
you know what I'm
really
saying?
funny
Like,
the whole
this
way
is
around.
so
It is
stupid.
hilarious.
Like, we hate you. You're awful. You're doing these throwback 90s comics. Hey, that's a damn good idea. Maybe we should start doing that.
They're doing well.
Call up Rob Liefeld.
We hate you. You suck. Everything about you sucks. But you know what? Your numbers are good. We're going to count them in the comic sales numbers so we don't look like we're failing.
Yes, now we have to take your...
It's funny.
We're not going to... this is so funny. We're not going to acknowledge that Comicsgate is part of the comic book industry, but we'll gladly take your millions of dollars and put them to the bottom line to make it look like the comic book industry is doing better. We're not going to acknowledge
you. We're going to bash you, but you have good ideas, so we're going to appropriate them. So I'm just, it is funny.
And then we're going to keep you, we're going to keep you out of the shops. We're going to try to keep you out of the shops. Like I said, look, there are a lot of comic book creators over the years, not just recently. There are a lot of comic book creators whose opinions I do not agree with. Their personal or political or ideological opinions or whatever. You know
don't
what?
have to agree on everything.
No, and sometimes, I enjoy the book, but I know who worked on it, and I'm like, but the book's good. And other times I'm like, I don't want to support this person. You know what? You don't have to.
Right.
You don't have to, but the colossal shit fit that the industry is having. Clownfish, wait, so is Marvel using 90s style again for their comics? Yes. They had Rob Liefeld do a book that sold very, very well, and he did it in the 90s style, and I think that they're going to be doing more throwbacks, because that's when comics were successful. They kind of peaked, I think, in the 80s, 90s in terms of, revenue and pop culture awareness, and it seems like they're starting to realize that those are the kinds of comics
that
the aging superhero demographic, and I include myself in there too, I guess I'm aging, they like those comics that they read when they were teenagers and kids. There we go. So we have quite a few people on for just dropping in on a Saturday night, right? You have like 350. That's pretty good. Okay, so what else are we going to talk about? So that's the comic book industry.
Burn the Witch. Sorry, that was
Burn
funny.
the Witch, pretty much.
That was funny.
This is going to be really interesting to watch. Now Marvel's probably going to pull a play out of the... I wouldn't be surprised if they pull a play out of the Comicsgate playbook while bashing Comicsgate. So funny.
Probably.
So
that's
funny.
why I find it so funny. It's the irony is just fantastic.
Funny. So
they call it irony. I call it hypocrisy.
Yeah, what do we got here? We got a lot of stuff.
I don't know what you have all pulled
We got
up.
Marvel's. Let's see. Marvel's Women Deserved Better. We got what else we got here? What's Marvel doing with Black Widow? We don't know. We got She-Ra graphic novel. This is not going to be a 90s style book. We could talk about that.
Well, pick whatever you're going to pick about.
Let's talk about She-Ra.
Okay.
It was either She-Ra or hamburgers. I
want to talk about hamburgers too, but She-Ra. Okay, guys. So now, besides the show, we're going to get a bunch of comics with graphic novels.
So we're segueing into that. These books will count to the bottom line, even if people buy them digitally.
What's really funny to me, though, about this is all the people working on this, the artist, the writer, they all came from the same agent that she had. They all have the same agent she has.
Yeah,
who may or may not have represented Fish at one point in time.
Here's a funny thing about, you want to talk about the comic book industry and how small and sort of, I guess, inbred it actually is, or how chummy everybody is with everybody else. There are literally, I think there are only like 3 or 4 agents that handle a ton of comic book creators. One of them handles a lot of comic book creators who work on stuff for like Marvel and some other publishers, Boom, and that person represents or had represented Stevenson at some point, represents most of the people, if not all of the people working on the graphic novels, represents some other people you may have heard of, like Mags Visaggio and Jeff Lemire and what's the other one, Alex DeCampi, and they may have represented some Fish at one point in time.
Yeah.
But we won't name names, professional courtesy. But comics is a very small industry, and everybody knows everybody, and everybody shares professional services, I guess.
That's what they're calling them now.
Yeah, so you got, okay. Johnny Perry, thank you, didn't have to do that. Predicting She-Ra and Thundercats War crossover meant to finish off everyone's
probably
childhood.
But anyway, with this comic, it's going to get, they're talking about how it's going to be, it's going to be more mythology and more, different things like that. You know dang well they're doing the comic because they can't go full on certain things in the cartoon, but they can do it in a comic.
Let's just put it this way. Okay, so this is what happened. This is what happened with Korra. There were certain things they could not show on Nickelodeon in Korra that they waited until the graphic novel series came out and made explicitly clear that they were holding hands for a reason. It wasn't just to be friends.
So they're going to use the comic vehicle to make sure that they promote what they want to promote.
Right. So we're going to have some hot Scorpion on Catra action.
No, because Catra isn't interested in the Scorpion. She's only interested in Adora.
Okay, so
the Scorpion likes the cat, though.
So we're going to have a flashback to about an hour before Catra was sleeping at the foot of Adora's bed. And what exactly was going on there?
She likes feet. She has a foot fetish.
Okay. That's
comic book black belt. To be honest, storyboarding is paying them much better. Yeah, I believe that. Than comic strip and that I'm able to look at crowdfunding and just trying my book. But I believe that. It's probably true. A lot of people do that. A lot of people go to do storyboarding and stuff. And things like that to do their comics. But anyway, I just wanted to point this out. Yeah. I just want to point this out. We all have this lovely Legend of the Fire Princess.
From Scholastic.
Yeah, it's going to... Oh, so it can't be too bad with Scholastic.
Well, no, Scholastic's not going to let things get
they're planning to learn more. Okay, she's new graphic novel. Legend of the Fire Princess is coming to fill the blanks. God, I don't want those blanks filled. Cucumber Quest and Zodiac Star First Girl are working on it. It's set within the world...
Get your mind out of the gutter with Cucumber Quest. It's just a cute comic about bunnies.
It's set within the world of Stevenson Shira series. Yes, because, the original one's better. And they tease a big reveal that impact the show and the... They teased on Twitter a big reveal that will have an impact on the show and the characters. Thrilled to announce Leather Legend of the Fire Princess. Why am I saying leather? Okay, I don't know.
That is another comic. People would absolutely pay for
Leather of the Fire Princess.
The Leather Fire Princess.
I'm sure they would. I'm sure they would. That'd be my next project, Leather Fire Princess.
Smack those bad boys on the ass
with the Cucumber Quest. Anyway,
smack
so
oh god.
They're going to be healing the corrupted rune stones, and the princess is going to quest to retrieve the legendary fire rune stone, which belonged to a princess who was corrupted by its power. You mean like Fire Princess? Unfortunately, Catra and the rest of the horde have similar mission. Blah, blah. Here's the description. Okay, here we go. Even after everything that's happened, the world outside of the horde walls is still a strange one to Adora. Each day she's learning more about horses. Her growing powers as She-Ra, including something new, the ability to heal corrupted runestones, like Steven Universe. Runestones are a magical source from which princesses like Frost and Mermista and Perfuma draw their power. So we're going to get a fire princess now. But Glimmer knows of another runestone, one with a dark past. Long ago, a fire princess ruled the land to the west until her thirst for power, somebody's thirst for power for She-Ra, corrupted her and led to the ruin of her kingdom. Glimmer thinks the lost fire runestone could give the rebellion an edge in the fight against the horde, but claiming this ancient power won't be easy, especially not when the horde has their eyes set on the same prize. And they've been mentioning they're going to have new characters, so how much do you want to bet there's a new fire princess character?
Probably, isn't that? So we got Adventure Time and Steven Universe.
Yep. Fire Princess. If you mashed the two, we got this. So...
Okay, so this comes out February 4th, 2020.
There you go.
So you
can pre-order it, though, guys.
Haven't even started drawing it yet. Now, the thing is that, you might want to... I don't expect IO9 to be around much longer. They might not be here for February 4th, 2020. So they are part of Gizmodo. They did get sold, and there's been rumor that they're going to start chopping. There's going to be some chopping going on at Gizmodo. So if you want to buy this, make yourself a reminder, because I don't think IO9 is going to be around to remind you in a year.
So anyway, that's what's up with She-Ra. Besides the season that's out now.
Oh my God, Adventure Universe Steven Time. So they're going back to comics.
Yes.
And actually... I do like her art, though.
They make the Fire Princess a redhead. They probably will, because that's cliche. But beyond that, they'll probably will or they might not, because they seem to have a thing. They hate redheads now. Like, they are anti-redhead. All the redhead characters have now been turned into other colors of hair because they don't like redheads. Actually, it's funny. I'm a fire sign. I bet you never would have guessed that.
With red hair.
I just happen to have red hair.
Oh my God, you're so cliche.
I am a cliche. I'm a fire sign. So.
I'm a water sign.
You are.
I am a true fish.
That's right. I'm not. I burn the fish. I'm sorry. I cook the fish.
Fry my fish.
Fry your fish.
I actually am a water sign, yes. Okay, so fire can be blue. It could be blue, like gas.
It can be. So
All
they'll
right.
probably do that because we can't have redheads because we are anti-redhead.
So let's talk about something you're not going to see much of in She-Ra and meat.
Oh, okay.
You're not going to see much meat in She-Ra.
You're awful anyway.
I'm talking the characters are probably all vegan.
Oh, okay,
right? That's what I'm saying.
They don't want to eat. They don't want to eat horses, So.
All right.
So yeah, Burger King decided they're gonna make special meal boxes for different moods because it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So of course we need to cash in on that.
What the hell? Like I thought this was a joke. I thought this was a joke.
No, I thought it was too. It's not a joke. I thought it was a joke. Oh yeah, redheads were sex symbols in the 70s. Probably they've been, I'm a redhead and I don't like the fact that they keep dissing redheads.
Hilda won an Emmy. I did not see that. Hilda deserved an Emmy. And Corilu Stromboli, thank you. Adventure Time's Flame Princess. Am I a joke to you?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much. So anyway, now Burger King is offering us mood boxes. Now it's only in a few cities that you can get these. They're all the same meal, but they have different boxes to go with your mood. So you can go in and order a pissed meal, a blue meal.
A pissed meal.
That's the one I probably ordered.
That is what happens when you piss off one of the workers and they take a piss in.
You get a pissed meal. Blue meal if you're sad. A yes meal if you're especially thrilled. A salty meal or DGAF meal.
What?
Go look it up. Anyway, the Whopper-centric real meals are part of the chain's effort to build awareness that is sometimes okay.
Yes meal.
Sometimes okay to have feelings. Well, duh, I don't need Burger King to tell me that I'm allowed to embrace my feelings. And that sometimes feelings are allowed. I don't need Burger King to acknowledge my feelings, make my feelings, relevant. I can handle my own. But what makes me mad is, let's see, there's the meeting. Okay, guys, you know what? We need to up our sales. We have to do something against McDonald's Happy Meal. What can we do? I know. Let's do unhappy meals. And we'll release them in May for Mental Health Awareness Month. So we'll cash in on mental health issues.
Oh my God. This is like right there with the chick fries that were like the pink box with the chicken fries.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that one. Yeah, I was thinking this is like She-Ra waiting for season 2 to say anything about Larry DiTillio dying until they release season 2. Not acknowledging it all until season 2 came out. So Burger King's new thing is we're going to cash in on mental health by making mental health boxes for Mental Health Month.
How is the media not ripping them to pieces for this? Because it's not cool to mock people with depression. Even though
you did the depression.
I know, but I'm just saying that's me. That's not Burger King. This is Burger King making fun of people with depression.
A natural extension of encouraging people to be their way is encouraging them to feel their way. So Burger King has said in a release, with the persuasive nature of social media, there is so much pressure to appear happy and perfect. So anyway, no one is happy all the time, and that's okay. Well, thank you for telling us that, Burger King. I could not get through my day without Burger King, making sure that I knew it was okay for me to be okay or not okay. God. So, but I need a salty meal to go with this article.
Salty meal. No,
or a DGAF meal to go with this article. So you can go, if you're in certain cities, I forget where they are.
Like Seattle?
It was, I don't remember, they said, it was like New York was one of them, I think.
Well, everybody's pissed in New York.
I forget, they don't have a list. There's only certain places you can get this. I don't know where, it's not on this article, but there's only like 5 places that have it. But it's funny. You can go ask for that. And then, Squid King's comment is, I thought Burger King was a family restaurant. I don't think you want your kids in there. People are like, hey, give me a pissed meal. Hey, give me a DGAF, but you're saying what it means meal. He's like,
yes meal.
I want a yes meal.
Oh my God. Kurilu Stromboli, thank you. Didn't have to do that. I'm a fire sign too, specifically Aries.
As am I, specifically Aries.
Humble Marty, thank you. Didn't have to do that because the Happy Meal is already
right. So now we have the other meals, which are probably all copyrighted as well.
I am a Pisces, literally a fish.
You're literally a fish. That's right.
I'm literally a fish. So it's all good.
So there you go, guys. If you are pissed or you're sad today, or you're feeling extremely happy with your yes, or you are salty, or you DJF.
Do they have an okay to be white box?
That's right.
I don't think so.
You can go to Burger King and get your Whopper meal in a special box. And I bet that people probably sell the boxes on eBay or something. I bet you money. So they can cash in on everybody's mental health issues.
Does it come with a free sample of like Zoloft or something? Or
I don't know. It depends, because if you're a yes meal, you don't need that. You don't need that. So you're okay. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to feel how you feel. Anybody could have told you that at the beginning. I mean, I personally think there's not enough done for mental health issues. There are a lot of mental health issues out there, and I think there's not enough done to teach people, where they can get help and make it that people understand there's something. It's okay to say I need help. It's okay to say I have problems and not feel stigma. Like you're being stigma. There's a stigma to it, and that you feel like you can't go and get help. Where I 100% believe in mental health awareness, and I think that they need to teach it more. I don't think Burger King cashing in on that is probably the smartest, kindest thing to do. Because they want to smack down McDonald's.
If only they had these meals in Falling Down. Michael Douglas wouldn't have caused as much mayhem.
There you go.
Because he could have expressed his feelings with this meal.
Does it come with Szechuan sauce? Yeah, that makes sense.
That would be amazing.
So anyway, now you can go. If you're in those areas,
here's a dude. Okay, McDonald's, I'm loving it.
I sent you this. Yeah.
Wendy's, fresh, never frozen. Burger King, hey you shitty little fuck, come eat our beef. While you're sad, here are some cheap chicken scraps to cure your mental illness, motherfucker. And there's Sonic.
I'm so mad.
I'm gonna go enjoy a pissed meal at my local Burger King, so I won't be so mad.
And I almost spit my drink out in the microphone. I'm sorry.
Joseph Citadino, thank you. Didn't have to do that. How much you want to bet the 90s nostalgia wave? SJWs will try to make a super woke Sailor Moon live action movie.
Shush.
Oh, they'll make it just like...
Don't even!
She'll be in the wheelchair just like she was.
Oh, go find that again. Some of these people might not have seen that.
Oh my God.
He's gonna find that. Don't give them ideas. Just hush up. Do not say that out loud. We do not speak of these things because if you say it, it happens. They did try to make it more inclusive once.
It did not go well. It did not go well.
It didn't actually do the show. It was a pitch, wasn't it?
It was a pitch. Has everyone seen this? We've actually grown quite a bit since. I think we're all going to listen. We're going to listen.
We can get demonetized if we listen.
No, because it never made it to the.
Okay, so
world.
here was the idea they had.
Thank you, Cesario John. Yes, Sab and Moon.
Here we go, guys. Ready? Play.
This is what will happen.
Not this.
This is what could have been.
Yeah, someone's like, I hope Netflix isn't listening. I agree.
Netflix will totally make the sale.
We'll talk about Netflix in a moment.
Live action.
God, that's not Sailor Moon. Yeah, I'm with this person.
Somebody worked very hard on this. You shouldn't make fun of it. It's like the macaroni art that your kid brings home from kindergarten. Oh, now we're going to dance.
Now, see, look, here, wait, you have to pause it back here, wait.
Wait.
So we got, wait, I have to pause it. I can't pause
Who's
it
in the
fast
wheelchair?
Is that? It's Jupiter. Hold on. So we got Jupiter in the wheelchair. There's a couple kids in a wheelchair.
Yes, but it gets even... Hold on. Still looks better. Wait, live. Yeah, this is what almost came to the U.S. instead of the actual Sailor Moon. This was almost a thing. This was aborted wisely. This is the American Sailor Moon. Oh, she's so fashionable.
Well,
like
so
Debbie
was Sailor
Gibson.
Moon. So was Debbie Gibson, yes. I mean, her actual powers are like makeup and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh God, no, this is not a parody. Honestly, she's got the wheelchair and she's shooting people with a flying, like.
I'm with the person laughing in the background.
It is not a parody. This is not a parody.
It was a pitch.
This was a pitch. We'll talk about this. Y'all, they're all dancing. Everybody's dancing. Everybody's dancing because they're all gonna go to the mall after this.
That's right. Yes, it was like she's on the wheelchair for Scout from. That's right.
Oh my god.
Can we stop it now?
Yeah, I think we're losing people.
Anyway,
like,
I don't blame them.
This
okay, so anyway,
merciful crap was that?
So that we almost got.
Okay, so
don't give them ideas.
So Saban got a hold of Sailor Moon, and this is what would have happened. Like they butchered Power Rangers. They were gonna butcher Sailor Moon, turn into some live action animated hybrid atrocity, and thankfully Deke got it, and they more or less brought the original anime over here.
This is what we almost. This could have been.
Crisis was averted. This could have happened
in an alternate Earth timeline. This is what we got. So,
oh my god, yeah. So if you mess with the Infinity Stones in some reality, that's
what the Sailor Moon they had.
This is the Sailor Moon that we all...
It reminds me of, if you ever watched Xanadu, like the animated sequence of Xanadu. Go ahead, anyway.
Johnny Perry, thank you. Didn't have to do that. Oh god, my eyes. That Sailor Moon is what waits for you if you're bad in life. Yeah, over and over and over again. Bogue, thank you. Didn't have to do that, Bogue. Hi, how you doing? So which one of those 5 is the super lesbian?
I don't know, but I'm sure if Netflix gets it, it'll be... Speaking of Netflix...
So what happened to Anna Green Gables?
Okay, so Netflix is like on this big thing where they're like, we're trying to bring in more women and, have more shows led by women and writers and all this other stuff. And that's fine, except... They're not just bringing in women, they're bringing women with agendas in. And so what's happening is we get things like She-Ra. And I don't watch Anne with an E, but my sister was telling me all about the second season. And it clearly has a completely different writer because now they're talking about, it's going on about racism, gay rights, and a whole bunch of stuff in Anna Green Gables. So, I mean... this is what happens. I think Netflix, I don't know, maybe they're trying to fail. I don't know.
What does that have to do with Anna Green Gables? Like, I'm not opposed to that, but what does that have to do with Anna Green Gables?
That's what I'm saying.
Again, this goes back to, like, why do you take an existing thing and turn it into an activism platform?
That's what people are saying. That's what the comments and the reviews for Anna with an E are. It's like, okay, we're not saying we're against these ideas, but why not make something new? Why are you inserting them into things that it shouldn't, no pun intended. There are no insertions, that's the problem.
It's Anna Green Gables.
My sister is not involved in any of this stuff at all. And she was like, oh my gosh, did you see what they did? And I'm like, no, what? And she's telling me this stuff. I'm like, oh, that's just, it's just a day that ends in Y. It's like, welcome to this year.
Yeah, Carmen San Diego didn't seem too bad. Hilda is actually very good. Dragon Prince is very good.
Yeah, Dragon Prince is good. And Dragon Prince has a lot of, really good diversity and things, but without, making it like, did you get it?
Right, the entire point of the show is not,
So, yeah.
So, Tyler Preston, thank you. Speaking of Power Rangers, you guys, remember how Saban adapted Kamen Rider into the terrible Masked Rider TV show? Yes, and Big Bad Beetleborgs with that weird, like, Elvis vampire thing. They just really liked it. Now, Squid King and I have been watching off and on the original...
You almost hit me with your elbow.
Oh, so I'm sorry.
You almost poked me in the eye.
I'm sorry. I wouldn't have done that to you.
Yeah, you would have.
Tiki a black eye, and then somebody report me.
I gave myself a black eye once, but I'll talk about that later.
Okay. But yeah, we've been watching Super Sentai on what is it? What is it called? It's not Tubi. It's some other like Amazon add-on. It's like $3 a month, and they have all these Japanese shows. It's really good. It's really bad. I mean, it's really bad. It's so bad, it's good. It's so bad, it's good.
So we're talking about how I gave myself a black eye once?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So it's an embarrassing story. Well, first of all, my nose is already broken because when I was born, they broke my nose. But when I was in high school, my friend and I decided we were going to have a burping contest.
Wait.
We were classy. Anyway,
did I hear this? I don't think I heard this.
Yeah, you did. Because then I decided I thought it'd be great if I smashed a can in my head like they do in them shows. Guess what? It hurts. I re-broke my nose and I had a black eye. And I told people I got hit in the face with a volleyball so they wouldn't think I was a dork. True story.
I gave myself a hickey with one of those poppers. And I was like in the 6th grade. Those little poppers you get out of the vending machine. It looks like a wart, and you turn up inside out, and then you put it on the floor.
I remember poppers.
Yeah, well, I stuck it on my neck.
Why? Did you want people to think you were cool and had a girlfriend?
No, I just was messing around with it.
Did you want people to think you're cool and had a boyfriend?
No, I was just messing around with it, and I had a hickey, and everybody made fun of me.
Oh, you thought it was because the hickey they made fun of you. No, I'm kidding. I love you. Here's what you have to read.
JD 1989, thank you. Didn't have to do that. The secret is organic diversity, not forced diversity. That is true.
That's what we keep saying.
Television has been movies, comics, books. have been diverse for a very long time, and people seem to think that it just like diversity was invented like 2 years ago. Like all these kids came out of college and were like, "Hey, we're gonna make everything diverse." It's like, hey, surprise! It's been diverse.
And my sister brought another point, which we've mentioned many times too, is how come diversity in quotes and now is a stereotype? Like they do more to stereotype people in the name of diversity than I ever have seen before. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
It's like we're gonna make them diverse by stereotyping everyone. Go ahead.
Yeah, Sarah Leone. Look
yes,
up
we
it.
do have it. We have it.
We own it. We own the Japanese version. Anna Green Gables anime, 50-episode series, considered the most faithful. It's actually like word for word. Mm-hmm. The dialogue is taken directly from the books.
Yeah, we have the Japanese version.
Oh, they made the English dub available to watch.
We'll have to get that because we have the Japanese version. So anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so should we talk? What else we got? We're talking about a lot. We'll talk about Marvel. Do Marvel again? Yeah, we'll talk about Marvel. Potential, maybe possible spoiler, and I know where this is going. They're talking that Far From Home may introduce the Marvel multiverse because we screwed up with the Stones. Spoilers.
That's right. So
Endgame changes things. It changes things. So does this mean that they're gonna take out Peter for Miles?
I don't know. Someone said we heard anything about High Guardian Spice. No, and I haven't looked either. We should.
You know what? Let's go look for High Guardian Spice. You entertain people. Why go look for High Guardian Spice?
How much does entertain you? How much? I'm trying to think of funny stories to tell them.
More stories about hurting yourself.
I don't have any stories about hurting myself on purpose. Oh no, I got one. Okay, so one time when I was a dork in high school, and I was walking through the one department store, and there was a really, really cute guy, and I was trying to nonchalantly look at him, but not look at him. And when I was looking at him, but not looking at him, I ran into a pole, one of those posts they used to have in the stores, like in the middle to hold the support posts. I ran right into it, and he saw me do it, and he was laughing at me. And but he was cute, but I ran into a pole and hit, and right like a total cartoon. I smashed my face right into it. It was not one of my prouder moments. So I didn't impress him.
I'm glad you didn't wind up with him.
I don't think he wanted to date me after that.
Oh, well, that's okay.
She's an idiot.
That's okay, because, with fire and water.
Okay, I entertained them. So what have you found?
This is the last thing I found. Now, last time I heard, meanwhile, with High Guardian Spice, they were talking that they were going to, kind of merge Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll was going to create content for Toonami. So I
heard that.
I think we're going to have like a Highlander here. I think Warner Brothers is going to take all of these like animation-related divisions and sort of smoosh them together into one division, like Rooster Teeth and Crunchyroll and all of that.
What do they call it?
Crunchy Teeth.
Crunchy Teeth.
Rooster Roll.
Or Teeth Roll. Or no. Yeah.
Teeth Roll. I don't know what's going on with High Guardian Spice. You haven't heard much about it. I'd like to see some actual footage because so far we just have a pitch. And Kate Leth, I don't think is working on it anymore. She's out on Twitter talking about other stuff. So I don't know what's going on. I think I don't know. It's still coming.
So how much more stuff do you have? Because it's already been like an hour and a half. And people are probably bored because I'm getting bored.
I know. Women deserve better.
Oh yes. Oh my God. They somebody sent that. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I can't remember who did it off the top of my head.
Cockerel. Yeah, Cockerel would be. Oh my God. Could you imagine?
Sorry, that was funny.
Stay cocky.
So there's an article on IO9 talking about, nitpicking everything and talking about how the women of
Jim Cummings, we got to talk about
the women of the MCU, how they got robbed, and how Black Widow somehow it was ridiculous that she would sacrifice herself.
Whoa, spoilers!
It's in the article.
Spoilers. If you haven't seen Endgame,
sorry. Anyway, they're making fun of our choices. And they're making fun of the other people's choices. And they're making fun of how Captain Marvel, which everybody thinks was handled very well by not putting her in it much, they're mad about that too. And they're mad about pretty much everything. Now, I can't say anything else they're mad about, so there's no point talking about it.
No, you can't. I'm just giving people...
No, because it's all spoilers, so I can't talk about it.
If you haven't seen it and you don't want us to spoil it, we're going to talk about it.
Okay, we don't have time for this anyway. Just put a link to the article and say, go read it if you have time.
So they're complaining now.
They're complaining about this and how women didn't get enough lines and they didn't get enough screen time. And they're just there to be basically not the female counterparts don't get as much, time as the male heroes. And it's like, oh my God, there's how many Avengers? They all didn't get as much time as each other. It's just the way it is. God.
There wasn't enough Carol.
Okay, I stopped spoiling. Blah, it pissed me off. Anyway.
Oh, spoilers!
I didn't do it!
Spoilers in the chat! Oh my god, the spoilers! Please don't... Yeah, we're not gonna do this. Okay, so we're gonna go... we're gonna go over to talk about rape and kicking puppies.
Well, don't put on Peter Mayhew!
Oh no! Peter Mayhew did not rape or kick a puppy. How did we get here? Where did we get... No, that's the wrong Peter. Oh my god. Okay, what do we want here? Oh, Bob.
Who's a Jim Cummings?
Well, the Jezebel...
I wouldn't go with Jezebel.
No,
I try to go with...
The comic book resources version was actually... okay, so...
Yeah, I would not go with Jezebel. Just saying.
Yeah, Chewie did not have his way with anyone. Okay, this is I mean, in all seriousnness, what the hell? This just dropped, I think, yesterday. I don't know Jim Cummings.
He's accused of being Cummings.
Yeah, Jim Cummings is a legendary voice actor. He voices probably half of the Disney characters. He voiced Darkwing Duck. He voices Winnie the Pooh. He voices Pegleg Pete. Just to name a few, he was the voice of the original Robotnik on the animated series. He's done countless voice roles, and now there are accusations from his ex-wife that he's done naughty things. Winnie the Pooh voice actor accused of sexual assault and animal abuse. Career loose from bullying. Oh, bother.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay. So anyway, and you know, I don't know what to make of this. I know people who know Mr. Cummings and said that they cannot imagine him doing this, but they have apparently a paper trail. So we'll read the article.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk a little bit
about it. We're
not
going to talk about facts because it's all we have right now. We're not going to make assumptions just like we do with the Vic Mignogna situation.
Yeah, this is
we stick with the facts.
Right. I want to see some paper, but this is it's during a divorce. It's a very, very messy divorce. Jim Cummings, who played Winnie the Pooh since 1988, the main adventures of Winnie the Pooh, he took over the role, has been accused by his ex-wife, Stephanie Cummings, of sexual assault and animal abuse. Oh, Nicholas Horton, thank you. Dr. Robotnik from 90s Sonic Saturday Morning. Yes, he was. Mm-hmm. And Darkwing Duck. Yeah, I know, this broke my heart. No, we did hear about the Captain
Yes, you did.
And
I thought it was fun.
I think they're setting it up for that. According to documents obtained by The Blast, Stephanie accused her ex-husband of engaging in physical, sexual, and emotional abuse, including but not limited to death threat, rape, and various sexual deviant behavior forced upon me without my consent since they were divorced in 2011.
So the divorce is over. So this isn't a messy divorce. This is a custody thing?
No, it's just it's a mess.
Custody and support payments, yeah.
Okay.
So divorce is already through, apparently.
Yeah, Johnny Perry, thank you. Didn't have to do that. First Vic and now Jim. When does it end? I don't know.
We're just sticking to the facts.
We're sticking to the facts.
We're sticking to what we know.
Let's see where this goes. The two have been fighting regarding custody and support payments for their two children. I will give CBR... Now, if this is the article I read, they actually were very balanced. They're like, here's what Jim Cummings had to say, and we'll keep you updated. Versus like, oh my God, here's another one. Stephanie claims Jim has withheld payments and demanded sex in exchange for meeting his support obligations. Stephanie claims to have obtained 2 restraining orders against Jim for separate instances of domestic violence. She recounted one in which The Blast says started with him coming over to her home and slapping her on the buttocks before forcing himself on her in front of their 4-year-old daughter. He came up behind me, she continued, grabbed my arm, spun me around, and forcefully put his hand on the back of my neck and kissed me while holding me in place against the wall. She described herself as feeling humiliated and degraded by the incident. She says she later reported the altercation to the LA County Sheriff. So if this indeed happened, there should be a paper trail. Jim recounts the incident differently, saying he was joking and laughing with Stephanie and that he touched her slightly on the butt. He claims they hugged consensually and the whole incident was happy, adding that his ex-wife, who is much taller than I am, a large woman, made no objection to anything. He also claims Jim raped her in 2013.
Some of the things are very... I don't think you want to read some of them.
Oh, is it? She filed a police report. Okay, so there's another police report. She also put forward allegations of animal abuse, talking about a time when, in response to a dog urinating in the house, Jim took the dog out and placed it inside a metal bucket outside the house on a day in which it was over 100 degrees and left it there for a long time. They live in LA, I'm sure. it gets hot. The dog came close to dying.
Better not have done that.
Well, Jim provided his own version of events, saying there was an incident where I put a tub, not a metal bucket, over a dog to isolate it briefly.
You should have done that. I'm sorry.
Well, I've actually heard of doing that before. To isolate it briefly as a form of discipline.
You put a tub over a dog.
I've never put a tub over a dog, but I've heard people do it with puppies. To its behavior at our vet's suggestion. And unfortunately, I forgot the dog was there. But then, of course, I released it. He said he took the dog to the vet where it was deemed healthy.
Which they should have records of this.
There should be records.
And then he said that he took the puppy, so he hit it so hard with a broom that it shattered its hip. And none of this better be true.
Oh, God. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that.
I can't take animal abuse.
Winnie the Pooh
Children
is
animal
a puppy.
abuse I can't do.
This is... Okay, so in addition to Pooh...
You can take them in a cage. Don't put a bathtub over them.
Cummings also played Darkwing Duck, Dr. Robotnik. Yes, he's lent his voice to video games Mass Effect 2, World of Warcraft, and the Elder Scrolls. He's also going to be in Star Wars. He's what's his face? The Weak Way pirate dude.
Why'd you ask me? Hondo?
Hondo, yes, Hondo. And he's going to be in the theme parks. He does a ridiculous amount of Disney.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens now. We're going to have to see what Disney's going to do.
I can tell you what's going to happen. I can almost guarantee you what's going to happen.
What we know is she's saying this. He's saying it's not the case. She's saying that there are police proof of this. Which okay, fine. Let's see the police proof, and we'll see what's going. We'll see where we're at for that. After that, I mean, there would be vet records of the surgery with the hip and all that. This stuff all should be easily proven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, if there's a paper trail and it's it's. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to think this.
Yeah, someone like Elvick said, the why or the how. Like the puppy had surgery. That doesn't mean he did it. He hit the dog. So yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
He was also Scar's singing voice when Jeremy Irons' voice went out. He's basically half of the Disney voices now. Like I mean, even with Tigger. When Winchell died, Paul Winchell died, he took over Tigger. So he has Tigger and Pooh. Like, I don't know how, I mean, it would take many, many people to replace him at Disney.
Well, I do know he said in other articles, too, that he had, he was in rehab for, drug use and stuff like that, too. But he admits to that. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. One of those things, again, like, you have to see what the evidence is presented as it goes along. For now, we just know what they're saying, but there has to be evidence presented.
Right. And that's
same as where we always stand, like with the Vic thing, too. It's like, let's see the evidence, and then we can decide from there.
And then if there really is no evidence, or we look at...
But the damage is already done because it's been announced everywhere.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, that's the thing about these cases. Even if, sometimes they do turn, you look at Harvey Weinstein, and it does turn out to be true, and there's evidence, and he's convicted, and he's gone. But, sometimes it's dubious, and people's careers are still destroyed.
And Black Romeo said, which I thought this too, just because she made the claims doesn't mean that it actually happened, just it means that she filed a report making those claims. Right, so you have to see some proof of these allegations, and that's the same with the Vic Mignogna situation. It's like, all we're saying is, here's what the evidences are being reported on the news, here's the facts that we know so far, we have to see what we're given to move on from that.
So I can probably tell you what is gonna happen. I mean, the thing is that to Disney, bad press is holy water. I mean, it's they hate it, even if it's they may just drop him just to stay, because they're gonna have the pressure put on him. They're gonna be like, this guy voices Winnie the Pooh, and they're accusing him of beating puppies. Right. And raping people.
And at this point in time, without the facts and stuff, we don't know who's right and who's wrong. So, it could come out that she's right. We don't know. So
that's true. Brad says, unless it's James Gunn, then they
apparently.
There needs to be some evidence. What I'm saying is, and this is where it's messy, and this is where the damage, because even if it's not true, the damage has been done. I mean, once you're associated, once somebody can Google you and see that, Winnie the Pooh beats dogs, and Disney's not going to associate themselves with that. Now, he has worked for the Walt Disney Company for a very, very long time. I'd like to think that they know him pretty well, especially since he's voicing so many iconic characters. I would like to think that. Yeah,
they last or stayed, for a while until they found someplace else to, send him or whatever. So, we'll see what happens. Yeah, April said about hip dysplasia. Yeah, common thing in dogs. Our dog, we have to take him on Monday to see if that's what's going on with him.
With our Charlie, his hip keeps popping up.
So, yeah.
Is he a Democrat?
I really don't know.
I've heard he leans conservative.
Okay,
I don't know for sure. I don't know Jim Cummings. I've always wanted to meet him. when we had Aaron on the show, Aaron Sparrow, who wrote the Darkwing Duck comic book, knows Jim pretty well. I guess they've done conventions together. Obviously, he's not going to come on and talk about this now. But, I've always wanted to meet him. Always been a big fan. And I really, really hope it's not true. That's all I can say, So
right, is that everything we got then? We done? We're leaving you on a bad note.
Jim Cummings is my cousin. For real? Captain Cummings, is that like for real? Or are you just messing? I'm curious. Could be. Small world. You never know.
Well, everybody thinks we're related to Chris Pratt, which is funny.
That's funny. Yeah.
They're always like, are you related to Chris Pratt? No.
Michael Bomer, thank you. Didn't have to do that. I know it's not much, but this is for Charlie. Oh, thank you so much. Charlie.
Yeah, he has to go have tests run.
Oh, I do have a cousin named Jim. Okay. That would be kind of funny.
We have to take Charlie on Monday to the vet to have scans run on him because it was very scary what happened to him. He was, for those who don't follow on Twitter, a few months ago, he jumped off a chair and fell. And he acted like he couldn't stand up right away. We took him to the vet. By then he could walk fine. They said he was okay. They just sent him home, didn't even look. And then it happened again a few months later. We took him to the vet for something else. He said, oh, that's probably fine. As long as he's walking, it's okay. Well, this last time he tripped, he fell, couldn't get up, and then he pulled his paws up under his chin like he was locked up. And then he seemed like he wasn't quite with it, but it wasn't like convulsions or like seizure or legs kicking or anything like that. I don't know what happened. And by the time we got him to the vet, we rushed him to the vet. By the time we got him there, because luckily they're close, he was back to normal. But they are going to do scans on Monday to find out see if they can find out if he has a slipped disc, if he has dysplasia.
It's happened a couple times.
What's causing his puppy problems. He's only 3 and he's my baby. So
yeah, oh my God. Yeah, we were like full on. Thankfully, the vet is very close. The vet's...
It's like 3 minutes, less than 5 minutes. Yeah,
and
less than 5 minutes.
We were in like full on panic mode yesterday because he looked like he was going into shock. It was bad.
But he was okay by the time we got there. So we're going to get him in on Monday, and they're going to probably do X-rays and all kinds of expensive tests to find out.
He's definitely...
Yeah, our daughter. Yes, thanks, Sarah. She's okay. Sarah, she was very upset because our daughter thought it was her fault because she left her shoes out, and that's what he tripped on.
He tripped on
and
her
she
boots.
felt it was like it was her fault. He got hurt, and she thought he was going to die, and we just ran out of the house. Like Squid King was here, so we left her with Squid King, and we just ran out of the house with him. And then I didn't even think about the fact she was going to be upset because we were trying to get the dog to the vet. So it was just...
I had my phone, so you dropped me off at the vet with Charlie and ran back to get... We didn't have his leash.
I had to go back to the leash because we literally live like 3 minutes away.
Ran back to get his leash, and I'm there, and as soon as I put him down, he started walking because they have a cat in the vet's office. They keep a cat there, and he wanted to go say hi to the cat.
Because he's raised around cats.
Yeah, and he acted like nothing happened.
We have 4 cats.
And so I couldn't text you because I didn't have my phone because I was here.
But anyway...
And
he has to go to the vet Monday. So anyway,
hysterics. So
there you go.
Is the dog under warranty? No.
No,
he's not under warranty. Somebody said, Omega Art said, any comments on the Doug TeNapel situation?
What happened with Doug TeNapel?
I don't know what's going on with Doug TeNapel. I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, we're trying to catch up to everything because you didn't get back to like really late Wednesday night.
Literally have been out half of the month. Again,
last month.
Last month. That's why we weren't doing a whole lot of videos. And we seem like we're a little late to the party on some of the videos because we just haven't been here. So, now imagine someone accuses you of being a dog abuser later. Well, that's happened to people.
Yeah, but we have we have a paper trail though because he always goes to the vets and gets his checkups and everything else. Our animals go to the vet when they need to. We have a very good track record of pet ownership.
We do. He's making a new Earthworm Jim.
I knew he was making a new Earthworm Jim. I knew that.
Games journalists are dogging him for his outspoken beliefs. That doesn't surprise me.
Oh, yeah, the notch thing. We heard about that as well. Yeah,
we heard about that. They're pretty much like Microsoft has scraped Notch off the bottom of their shoes. I mean, they're pretty much... I mean, that's kind of... look, you don't have to agree with everything he says, but the guy created Minecraft. He created one of the most successful video games of all time. And they're just like pretending he doesn't exist. They even removed him from the credits, I guess, the game, and but he's got lots of money, so that makes it better, right? Money makes it better, but it's still shitty.
Unless it wasn't the contract, they didn't have to acknowledge it, which they usually still give you credit. I don't know, it's weird. Yeah. So
Anyway, so that's what's going on. That's kind of the whirlwind tour. We had a lot of things to talk about.
Sorry, it was like, all over the place. But
yeah, we can't.
We're trying to catch up.
Yeah, I know the outrage. I agree with Sarah. The outrage gets boring after a while. It's just like, oh my god, what else are you mad about?
I know. It's just
everything makes everybody upset, and
that's why we want to do some stuff with our comics and stories and things too. To try to just get something different because we're so sick of it. If you want to read the comic in the meantime, though, you can go to shadowbinders.com.
I'm rebuilding the site. We're going to be bringing it back. But beyond that, like. Yeah, we talked about, a lot of the drama and stuff. It seems to be focused on Twitter, and now Twitter... I did a video on that yesterday. Twitter's not doing well. Tumblr's getting sold possibly to Pornhub.
Which makes sense.
To Pornhub, because there's just not enough porn on Tumblr, which is why it's failing.
Brad said, imagine they tried to move George Lucas from the Star Wars credits. Oh, I know.
He told Disney off, But yeah, unless he had in writing... I think he just kind of, I don't know, maybe just took the money and didn't really think about, long term. But they can pretty much. Yeah. Well, I mean, Disney kind of kicked George to the curb for a while after he called them white slavers. So they weren't real happy with him. And now they're kind of like calling him up. Like, hey,
we need George back because we kind of effed it up and everybody is mad at us now. So, okay, are we done?
Yeah, I think we're done.
Okay, guys.
I don't want to end on this.
Well, then find something fun to end on.
God, there's nothing fun. There's nothing fun here. Picture of people. There we go. That's fun. Happy. It's happy. We're happy. What? I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't have anything fun.
Tell them a funny story.
I don't have any funny stories.
Yeah, you do.
I'm on the internet. I don't have any funny stories. What funny story?
I don't know.
Why don't you tell them a funny story I've told you? Because I forget half the funny stories I've ever told you. Because I have very short term.
Oh, so one time his friend, he doesn't watch this, he doesn't get mad at you. The sourdough bread.
Oh God, don't do that because he might actually watch this. No.
I'm trying to think of one that. Wait, why do I keep embarrassing myself? I'm thinking. I'm sure I have lots of funny stories, but I can't think. Oh, okay. So I was in high school and I was a freshman, and I was going to my locker, and when I went to my locker, I opened the door, and a whole bunch of pads and tampons flew out of my locker all over the floor in the hallway, and all the senior football players came by right then and helped me pick them up. And then I wanted to crawl into the locker and die. True story.
I would have helped you pick them up.
Sure
I was kind of a dick in high school. I might not have.
No, you wouldn't have. You would have been a dick.
I was a total dick in high school.
Anyway, there's a funny story to end you on. Okay.
Wait, to end you on. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I'm going to give you this Diet Coke, and then I'm going to end you.
Let's go.
I'm going to end you. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog looks like garbage compared to Detective Pikachu.
All right, are we done?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hey, I want to show you on.
You keep saying we're wrapping it up, and
yeah,
you keep changing it.
I keep saying that.
Okay, so whenever it's like he does this all the time in reality too. So whenever he tells you we're gonna wrap something up, and then he does it, just know that he's not gonna actually wrap it up.
Oh my God, what's that? Copyright strike.
Wait, what?
No, we have this little join button here. If you guys haven't, if you want to help the channel, we have that. It's right there. We're allowed to do that now. Okay. Then you get a little clownfish.
We actually did a whole video on Sonic previously.
Yeah, we did.
That's why someone said about Sonic. No, we did. We totally did. We did a video already. Go watch that.
Can I join myself?
No, don't join yourself. That's wrong. No one wants to see that.
Okay, but that's new. We just added that yesterday because we're allowed to now, which is pretty cool because I guess we hit whatever their really obscure threshold is. So that's all I'm going to say.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
We're going to wrap this up. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Okay, goodbye. Michael Bomer. Yeah, there. Michael Bomer. See, he's got the little fish. You can have a fish like Michael. You can be one of the cool kids. All right, guys.
Bye.